Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Our meeting of Jefferson County Council, the orders. I hope everyone's had a chance to check the minutes and make sure they're correct. If there are any corrections, please let's notify those at this point. If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes as presented. So moved. Okay, Chris, Heather seconds it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. It carries. We've got sheriff updates to go over, especially related to contracts.
I don't think he's in just yet.
He's here. I just talked to him. He's in Troy's office. You want me to go get him?
I can do my part first if you want. I can do my part.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I am presenting a policy for the clerk, and it's a required policy to make corrections that are some date at least 20 years old. The State Board of Accounts basically issued a template for us to do those policies, and I had everything looked over by Pat, and then I also presented it to the commissioners as well, which they have already approved their concerns and everything on it. And they have to have this policy in place to make the corrections and go live in June. So that's why I'm bringing it forward today. So basically it states that they will now go through procedures to make sure that they do not have an irreconcilable difference. And for the existing ones, we would pay that unappropriated from county general to shore that account up. And that total is estimated at about $2,800.
Any questions or comments? Yeah. We'll accept that as presented.
I have to have a motion.
I motion to approve.
And a second.
I'll second.
Okay. And all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Motion carries.
Okay, I just need you to sign one. It's one of the flagged items. Mhm.
But never about later doing that flying. We're ready for sheriff.
Yeah.
Well,
You're up.
that was quick.
Yeah.
Good evening. Just want to start out, I think primarily was to go over the contracts presented to the county commissioners, and they approved both of them. Let's start out first with the kitchen. So Kelwell would be the new company that we are looking at going with. And one, they are relatively local, they're across the river. So if we have any issues, they're nearby, a phone call away. And if we're missing something or we're short on something, they will, respond within that day and get it to us. Kind of a backstory, we had some issues with the last, contract holder. We had some issues, they weren't wearing hair netting, required hair, beard, stuff like that with the inmates and the worker. We ran out of sugar and bread, a few times, just little bitty tiny things that just kind of culminated into, hey, maybe we should look at other entities out there. I came across this one, also, Floyd County Sheriff's Department uses the same vendor. And they had a lot of good things to say about them. It's gonna be within budget with our current, even if we go into the new facility. So it breaks down in the back where they kind of prorate the meal system. Now this is included, paying for past or the current one that we still have. They only covered one hot meal a day, one full-time staff member and 2 part-time staff members. This new contract holder will be providing our population with 2 hot meals. So they're gonna add a hot meal, which in return kind of helps the stability in the jail, kind of makes them a little happier, less disgruntled, less likely to fight, cause issues within the jail. And it's also gonna cover 2 full-time employees. So that number that you see over here, within that contract that Chief emailed you guys, goes by inmate population, and then like right now, we're in the 145 population area. So it would cost us $1.73 per meal. That's per meal. So then you would times that times 3, which comes out to $5.19 per inmate per day, which comes out to $752.55 per inmate per day, or for the whole population for the day. So
We might want to put on record too, just since it's being recorded. It is currently at 1 hot, 2 cold meals. I know
Right.
you mentioned, I don't want a listener or viewer to think we're only feeding them 1 meal a day.
no,
They
there
are
is
getting
3
3
meals.
Yeah,
Yeah, 1 hot meal and 2 cold meals. So what we would be doing is going to 2 hot meals and 1 cold meal.
And what is the current cost that? Hang on, is that in here?
Current is $1.74 per meal.
Okay, so there's really not much.
There's not much change until we get up into the higher number when we get to the new facility. Then we'll start seeing that price come down. So,
Okay, I see that.
and I know we changed per the last contractual agreement for cost savings. Our former sheriff went from 2 hot down to 1 hot, and that was sheerly financial savings. But really with you feel that that's feasible to err toward the 2
Yeah.
hot or and or more nutritious, tasty meals.
with the budget, we're 415 and the new facility at 200 inmates, just
The
You're
cost
looking
per
at
meal goes down.
337.
Right.
So we're still under. Because we know day 1, we're gonna go up over here. So, that's unavoidable. Once we get to the new facility, so, everything looks good there. I just wanted to let you guys know that that's kind of the direction. And I will say, I did taste test our current menu items. And no. If I'm not gonna eat it, they're not gonna eat it.
Just curious with the health department and the Servpro requirements that even a Purdue Extension offers now a class that each restaurant in town, for example, and food vendors have to have. Obviously, knowing an organization like this meets those criteria, but since you mentioned there's been some concerns in the past with maybe improper hair netting or maybe not following, protocol, is the jail subject to those same inspections, just with the county's food inspector, just like any restaurant is?
Mhm.
No.
Yes, ma'am. And then we also have to pass the state jail inspection as well. Going on to the next, the quality medical. With that. There's a whole nother onslaught of numbers. So our current contract with ACH, it expires, April the 10th. So they are around, and this number here is for our facility currently. We're around $277,793 is where we're at right now for, healthcare for the facility and the number of inmates we have currently. So kind of your numbers are gonna be different because you're looking at a couple different things. You're looking at 16 hours a day, 7 days a week nursing care, where the quality, the new contract holders, they are doing 24-hour, 7-day a week medical care. And they're also providing us with a DEA license. One-time fee of $850 because we will have a pharmacy within the confines of this new medical facility that we have up there. There's actually a room that is dedicated as a pharmacy. And another mental health, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, mental health care provider availability. We are currently doing that, but we're paying another company. So we have our healthcare and then we have our mental health there. So it's two different bills. So this new company, they're combining that all into one service. And they also have their own pharmaceutical, if you will. So all their meds, or a majority of all their meds, they supply their own medication. They own their own pharmacy. So if we need meds, they go through their own pharmacy, so that cuts out the middleman there on 90% of their medication, and that way it comes to us at a lower cost. And then we can, with that DEA license, we can hold it on site, and we don't have to have it mailed in. It's, then it just comes in shipping, and we hold on to it, and then as we need it, we use it, and they resupply it. So that's one of the pros to the new facility. So our current contract holder, ACH, they quoted us going into the new facility. Their lowest tiered was the $771,544 a year. And that was their lowest tier. And that was at 16 hours a day, 7 days a week nursing. And quality, they beat them out, because we went to 24-hour nursing, and for the whole kit and caboodle out the door was $610,716. So they beat them out by almost $100,000. And we got 24 hours, 7 days a week medical care, and we got the mental health. And they're also in the contract is they are going to provide us with a facility director, if you will, to help establish a JCAP program or JCAP-like program. So that was also in the contract. The only thing will be, it's obviously going to be an increase because our current budget was, we're going to go well over the current budget next year, going into next year, just giving you guys a heads up that it will change, because we're going from around $300,000-ish budget into a $610,000 budget for healthcare, but we're taking on double the amount of inmates than what we currently are taking care of right now. And just in the last 8 months, just to kind of put things into perspective, the county has paid $313,977 to house inmates in other facilities. So if we take our current budget of $315,000, subtract it from next year's total, that leaves us with a makeup left to pay of $295,716. But we would also be cutting back on the county's bill in the last 8 months we won't be housing that many inmates out of county anymore. Now granted, we may have to house one or two out of county if there's a conflict of interest or it's in a local employee or local officer or something of that nature where we can't house them in our facility due to safety reasons. So we may have to house one or two inmates here and there out in another county or another jurisdiction. So that won't totally go away, but the vast majority of it will. And that's a pretty substantial number. So I think that money that the county's paying there would offset this, and you would still have a savings, a pretty substantial savings. So.
Did they give you an insight, like currently, not that this has been contractual, but this year's current budget, it was 25,000 additional for medical and hospital. I think they can essentially manage more things in-house. Did they give you any idea of maybe how they anticipated? You hope ultimately that cost will also go down, not having to make as many ER trips or.
Yes, so within that confines of that contract that you guys have a copy of, it's gonna provide a clinic, but they call it clinic team leader, which will be a nurse that'll supervise the daily operation of the medical plan. It's 24-hour nursing coverage. It covers medical supplies, and electronic records, medical records. You would probably have a better understanding of that. So now we're doing it paper, so we would be transferring over into electronic logs. And an admin support system or an admin support person that would do all non-medical functions. So I'm gonna assume billing, medical billing, working with the inmate trust, taking it off the books, working with other jurisdictions if we're housing inmates somewhere else or someone's housing their inmates with us and we're giving them medical care, then she would be responsible or they would be responsible for billing the other counties. And then the mental health. So those are all kind of the things that that come included with that package, yes.
Ben?
Yes.
I see here, it says 291,000 for the base contract, but that's just for 140 bits.
Yep.
140 bits, so we're gonna double that, is basically what you're saying.
So the next one, find the right paper, so I don't tell you wrong. Yeah. The adult daily population is the 140 bed. Or 140 is with basically what we have right now.
Right.
And then the next one was 156% increase to an ADP or adult daily population of 280. So you're basically doubling. So. Yeah, any questions on that?
What would be our charge for people, prisoners coming in from out of town?
I have not sat down and ran that number yet, but I know, for instance. In the month of February. Scott County charged us $2,300 in the month of February. I think they have. Don't quote me on this. I think they have 3. I think
What you said?
they either had 3 or 4. I can't remember.
The 35 a day. And we were being charged. I should know off the top of my head. Switzerland County, I think, was the lowest of the 3 maybe.
Yeah, he is. I don't know that number off the top of my
It's
head.
okay. It's fine.
Is there any other questions on the healthcare side of things? No? Okay, and then. One thing. I don't know if we had to read this whole thing. It's on this ordinance for sexual predators. We basically just amended, we changed some wording to actually just mirror word for word state statute. So the current ordinance was a little bit different, and then Libby just changed the verbiage, she changed a sentence here, a date here, and then took this section right here and just typed that out of state statute. So I don't know if we had to read the whole ordinance or the amendments.
I think so.
I think you did.
Okay, sorry. It was to make things easier on my end, I guess.
Well, we don't have to advertise it, but we'll have to read it at least twice and then forego the readings. The third reading.
So
I just lost that email.
unless you guys have to read it, I can take one for the team and read it. Unless you guys have to.
Anyone, no.
Okay.
Anyone can read it, so.
I know you guys did it last time, so I'll share the burden, I guess. Whereas Jefferson County, Indiana, acting by and through the county council and board of commissioners for the county of Jefferson, state of Indiana pursuant to IC Indiana Code 36-2-13-5.6. And the request of Jefferson County Sheriff desires to adopt an ordinance allowing the Jefferson County Sheriff to charge annual sex or violent offender registration fees and address changes in fees for sex and violent offenders. And whereas pursuant to Indiana Code 36-2-13-5.6, the annual sex and violent offender registry fee is hereby established as $50 per year for the registration of sex and violent offenders, $25 per year for sexual and violent offenders working in Jefferson County, and $5 for each time a sex or violent offender registers and address change with the Jefferson County Sheriff's Department. Now and therefore, it is ordained by the County Council and Board of Commissioners of Jefferson County, State of Indiana, as follows. The Jefferson County Sheriff's Office is hereby authorized to charge the sum of $50 per calendar year for the registration of sex or violent offenders, $25 for sex and violent offenders that are working only status. That basically means that they're working in Jefferson County, but they live in another county. So we can charge the $25 because we still have to do the paperwork for it. And $5 for each time a sex or violent offender registers an address change with the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office. And the registration fee is due on a calendar year basis, regardless of when the offender registers initially with the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office. The registration fee for the first calendar year is $50. For each subsequent year, the registration fee shall be paid between January 1st and December 31st of each subsequent year. A fee is considered delinquent if not paid by December 31st, each subsequent calendar year. Jefferson County, Indiana now establishes a county sex and violent offender administration fund in the office of the Jefferson County Auditor, and the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office shall deposit all funds collected for sex and violent offender registration fees and address change fees into this account. The county auditor shall transfer 10% of any fee collected to the treasurer of the state of Indiana for the deposit in the state sex and violent offender administration fund, IC 11-8-8-21. Almost done. The Jefferson County Council may appropriate money for the county sex and violent offender administration fund to an agency or organization involved in the administration of the sex and violent offender registry to defray the expense of administering and ensuring compliance with the laws concerning the Indiana period in a sex and violent offender registry according to IC 36-2-13-5.6 subsection 2G. That's it.
Encore.
What else is there?
I think
Is that it?
that's it.
And there's a copy of that.
Then I will put that on the agenda for next time.
And then the last thing I think on our list was, I had brought up last time about body cameras and, policies and procedures for the jail. The body camera, we're still, waiting to find out if we, are gonna be awarded that grant. So I'll put that on the back burner until next meeting to see if we can get confirmation on whether or not we'll be able to get that matching grant. And then as far as the jail policies and procedures, would like to, I guess, propose to see if the council would be willing to, pay for the startup fee for the jail policies and procedures, so we can actually have a modern day version of policies and procedures that weren't last legally updated in 2010. And the cost of jail SOP, basically they have to start from scratch. Lexipol is a nationally organized or a nationally recognized organization that writes policies and procedures for jails and law enforcement entities throughout the country. And they also did the one for the roadside for us, I think, 2 years ago, for Sheriff Thomas. And we were wanting to see if they would be able to write the ones for the jail as well. But the basically the startup fee for that would be right around $25,411. And then that would get us current with something that's up to date, up to speed. So if we're sued, you know, civil tort, you know, one good tort claim would well supersede that number. So if you guys want to consider that, it would be greatly appreciated. But other than that, that is all I have.
Any discussion on that?
Is that an item you want me to advertise for, or you want him to have a plan, further plan for before?
Yeah. I would think having more detailed quote and plan would be good.
Yeah.
I've got it. I'll shoot an email. I'll get an email out to you guys. I've got it right here, so I can get it scanned and emailed out to you, each and every one of you for next one.
And you feel like once, if we go in this direction, once they're all, like you said, all consistent, updated, same format, electronic, then obviously it's a matter of when expiration dates for policy expire and a required update is made and or an update is needed to a policy. Then that process will obviously be easier moving forward, but it's not like this company is trying to sell that we do this every 4 years through them. I mean, this big undertaking would be a one-time ordeal to get us all.
That gets us up to date, and then we have the option going forward in the upcoming years. They charge, you know, and they'll do annual reviews for another amount of money. And they'll go through and they'll update it all the current case law, or they can do kind of a once and done kind of thing for right now. And then we could potentially update it going forward. But I want to say my note is correct. So with the online training that they offer, and that was another thing that they also do. So if you have a policy and you read that policy, each officer, at the end of that section, they give you like a short 2 or 3, they provide you a online 2 or 3 question about the policy that you just read. So each officer would have to take that test afterwards. So then that way they're not just signing on the dotted line saying, hey, I've read all these policies and procedures, but they're actually taking a test on each one. So then that way going forward, there's no way that they can't say that they didn't understand because they had to read and then they had to take a test on each section. And then they will periodically, Lexipol will, each officer will have a login. And then every month or however you set it up, they will send you out a kind of like a test. And it'll quiz you over different sections, random sections of the policies and procedures throughout the year. So it always keeps you updated. You're always having to keep fresh on. But that's, that program and the revision, annual revisions, the one for the roadside is 12,000 and some change, $12,002.23. And for the jail side would be 7,968 for an annual and the online training. So.
And to your knowledge, that's not something that's been, not to my knowledge, but that's been budgeted for every year. And kind of look at as a necessity
Yep.
or a yearly.
At least get it up to speed, newer than the last legal updated version that we were able to find was signed by an attorney, an attorney in 2010. So that is all I got.
I'll mention that I did go over to the jail today, the new one, and it's, they were pretty busy today. Pulling lots of water and I've seen some paintbrushes out and other things. So they are making good progress. I'm not sure.
I don't think we're gonna meet the end of April
They're
deadline,
not
that's
gonna
for
make
sure.
that, no.
No. But they have talked about maybe end of May, June. So they've got just an astronomical amount of wire that they have to pull. So that's, I think that's probably what takes the most time is the integral part of pulling all that wire. Any other questions?
What was the name of that company? Ben, that's
Which one,
gonna-
sir?
That's gonna update all of
The policies?
Yeah,
It's a company called Lexipol.
you're gonna send us the information on that?
Yes,
Okay.
I will email that up to you. I'll have to scan it, but it's, hang on. Make sure I spell it correctly. It's Lexipol.
Thank you, Nick.
All right, thank you guys. Yes,
See you later.
Okay, I think we're ready for commissioners.
That's me
So you
today.
look like the commissioner.
Yeah.
tonight.
Commissioners are at road school, but I did advertise the request from last meeting from the ARP money. And then I also put the historic preservation item on there as well, so that you guys can discuss if you've had time to think about that line item as well.
Any discussion on the ARP, we'll start with ARP.
So ARP, the request was 70,000 to the city for the pool project, 80,000 to the Heritage Trail project, 100,000 to the Ohio Theater.
And we had a hold on the 25,000 per year for the
Yeah.
pool. To be reviewed at a later date.
So that's a line item we'll vote on separately.
We'll be voting on I have it all in the one line item, the 250,000, the 3 items.
Okay.
Discussion?
I mean, I have no problem with the projects.
Pardon?
I have no problem with the projects that they've selected as far as the ARP money goes. It's just the 25,000 a year is not sustainable.
Right. But that's not on that's not on the discussion right now. So I'll entertain a motion for the 250,000 for those 3 projects, 70,000 for pool, 80,000 for Heritage Trail, and 100,000 for the Ohio Theater project.
My second.
No, I need the motion.
Okay, can I make a motion? I'll make the motion.
So made, and I'll take a second.
I'll second.
All those in favor, vote aye, raise your hand. And those against, like sign, motion carries.
I will make a note on that. That's the last time we can go to the well on this ARP money.
Yeah,
The rest of it has to sit there for the audits until we know what that looks like.
okay.
Do we want to go ahead and approve the resolution since that's the next thing that goes with that? And it's a resolution for, it's 2023-04, and it's additional 250,000 to fund 9112 ARP. And it is the previously stated 3 items.
Do we need a motion for that too?
Mhm.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion to approve.
So moved, I need a second.
Second.
Ray seconds it. All those, any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
That's the blue flag one, if you want to sign it.
Yeah. Those opposed, like sign. Looks like it carries.
I guess we'll be under 750,000,
Mhm.
so we're not gonna get it audited again. I'm saying let those-
Audit will be happening soon. They've already called me and said that they're doing prelim work.
Really,
So I look for them to be here soon.
Is that it? Gotta be 10%? Or do we know?
No, we don't know. They say to hold the 10% just in case of recoupment, but if everything is fine, then we can move forward with.
and were there specific stipulations as far as, 90 days following the audit? The additional funds have to be allocated, spent, within a certain amount of time. Any extra, I guess that.
Yeah,
May not be.
I think
Add to that.
the main thing is that we have every cent being spent by 26. So,
For the next item down.
With that, historic preservation. I guess, if you guys want to discuss that further.
We have the 25,000, the math doesn't work. In 10,000, go that far
Mhm.
if the, the Belterra money doesn't dry up.
Right.
It's-
I can remember the calculation I did last month. It was
16 years.
Yeah,
Mhm.
16 years was the
Yeah.
run out point. It's
They
currently,
run out in 16 years.
and probably shorter than that because it's income. Where it's dropping.
So,
And I'm sorry, I understand the city is trying to secure, expense at the pool, knowing how grand that project is and what monies are committed for extended periods of time and one-time gifts and how much they're gonna borrow. I understand that, but see, knowing what we just allocated and voted, is it an absolute necessity that we make this pledge right now, knowing how uncertain those funds are and or additional funds that would fall, and is
I
it
mean,
an
we
appropriate
We
use?
can do it year by year.
So as opposed to making a 10, 15, 25-year commitment?
I think the city would like to see us make a commitment now, but I don't think that it's something that we can financially do.
Yeah, right. Plus, we have another financial commitment we'll be discussing here shortly. That
Uh-huh.
yeah, so, I would ask you to maybe to consider tabling that for right now. And, we can come back and address it at a later time.
I would make a motion to table it until budget time. Budget,
Yeah, but
table it until budget time.
that's what I'm
I mean,
thinking.
we're gonna really have to dig through
Right.
and dust the corners out, figure out if there's any money there or not.
Yeah, I'd recommend putting it on our budget agenda. I'd entertain a motion for that. Do I need to do that?
Yeah,
I think I do.
Make a motion that we table that until, the 2024 budget session, which should take place in August of this year.
Can I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of doing that, take a seat, raise your hand and signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Motion carries. So, I think we're ready for auditor and clerk. Do we need to do
Have I
anything?
done that?
You're
I
good.
jumped ahead on that
I
one.
know you did. Didn't know if there's anything else.
Yeah, so I can speak on behalf, Megan is here with me today, the treasurer. We have been looking at some different software options. The current financial software that we use, the county started using in 2001. We still pay around $3,900 a month for support. And the support is just not what it used to be. And for instance, we had a scenario a month ago where a report was misplaced and there was no way to regenerate that. We had to dig through a very 200-page report and pull out numbers so that we could get back in balance. There's just a lot of things that are probably more streamlined, and we're just going to do some investigating in the newer softwares available. And the majority of the counties have switched to other softwares. We're one of the remaining ones on the current software. So we are actually going to Scott County tomorrow to view a little demo on their software, and then that company will actually come next month before the council meeting, and we're going to watch another demo on that and have our IT talk about how that works with our current IT situation. To kind of do some legwork before, and maybe we can bring numbers to you next time of what that looks like.
I've been in favor of you guys switching software for about 5 years now.
Yeah, so a big plus, Megan has this situation, we have this situation, a lot of people need reports from us. One of the new things is that the office can just log in and generate the report that they want, and maybe they just want it for a 2-week time period. And instead of tying up our office time of generating that report, converting it to PDF, and then emailing it out, everyone will be able to just view. Another thing is our ACH payments. We have to actually make a physical check, even though we're making an ACH payment, because our system is not up to date with that. And that is, so we actually do it twice to make it an easier process. It's required by the state that we pay everything by ACH. So I think eventually we'll be moving that direction. So exciting stuff that way.
Why is there support slow? Because nobody knows. This is what it is. Everything's high open.
Okay.
thanks for
So I think
coming, Megan.
Yes. Thanks for having me.
I think that brings us to the proposal that we received on last Monday from Norton's King Stars Health about ambulance service. You all received copies of that from me. We will need to, in my opinion, probably have an executive session along with the commissioners for that. Unless someone has a better idea on that.
We'll just want to clear that with the county attorney, because
I think they should be invited too.
I'm not sure that an executive session is,
that's what I don't think that qualifies.
no, it's mainly personnel issues.
So. What's everybody's thoughts on dealing with this?
Definitely needs to be further discussion with the commissioners.
Yeah.
I feel like discussing this evening without the commissioners here. I hate to put that up one more month, but I have a feeling we cannot hold an additional meeting.
Yeah.
That may have to wait until April.
Do you
They
want
need
me
to be
to try
here.
to schedule a joint session after our meeting, or would you guys be in favor of coming to a commissioners meeting? Whichever.
I'll do it either way myself.
Yeah,
I'm fine with either way.
Either way.
Okay, I will,
So
notify.
either following our April meeting, which
Well.
is the 11th,
Or
or
probably needs to happen before then,
Yeah.
though.
let's see, the next commissioners meeting is
Thursday,
Thursday,
This Thursday.
not this Thursday, next Thursday.
next,
the 23rd. I'm available. Or I can make myself available.
they have them up here now.
yeah.
Yes, just in the next room
That's at what time?
at 5 o'clock would be their meeting.
Won't be able to make that meeting, but I trust the rest of the council to make the right decision.
I'll check with them and make sure that that works.
And then there's,
It won't be this Thursday, but the next Thursday.
23rd.
23rd.
the scramble for the money for this year would be a problem, but going forward, that's a big chunk of our budget.
Yes.
I'll mention that, I think it, not only is the county benefiting, but all other municipalities are. And I think that, there might be need for an interlocal agreement and for them to contribute to that. What is your thoughts on that?
Completely agree. I mean,
City.
this is a sizable sum and it would be every tax-based entity. So it'd be Madison, Hanover, DuPont, Brooksburg, and the county.
I second that sentiment as well, with a little research. Typically, obviously, when a hospital, private, public, not-for-profit is subsidizing that service, that falls in the burden of the county. From my research recently, it is not fully the county's responsibility. There's other contributing government entities that's going to need to be an expectation and a part of their budget. Obviously, when that service is being provided to residents in Hanover, Madison, et cetera, that we need to bring that discussion for an interlocal agreement. Obviously, prior to their budgeting, that talk needs to happen soon.
Probably should be inviting other parties in.
And I do have this be a second proposal on that. But, at this point, I think that, it would be best until we talk to the commissioners. So, I'll just kind of sit on that, if that's okay. So,
I just remembered I do have one last thing. Does anyone have a recommended rate for lit? So I can, not really, coon voting, so I can, start that advertising process.
That's right. It's that time of year.
So what are we currently paying them right now? What was in the budget? 150,000 for back?
Oh, for EMS?
Yes,
Yeah, 100,000.
100,000. And what, and they're asking 500,000. Okay, they were talking about inflation. That's, that's a lot of inflation.
Sorry, to the
What was the prior rate on that?
number.
I don't know, because it has not been in place for a
Long time.
long time.
and that fund is currently at what?
I think it has around 12 or 15,000 in it, and the update is going to be at least 500,000.
So we probably need to increase that rate a little.
It has not had a tax rate since at least I think 16. If
What
not
was the old
before.
tax rate?
That's what we can't remember. I
I'm
couldn't
not
remember.
certain.
It was before I come on board.
Yes.
It was before. I'm not sure that it was even, it might have even been further back than 16.
Yeah, there was quite a bit of money in that, came in 13, 14 maybe. This is when it got turned off. The last email I had was approximately 200,000 on the updates.
Okay, maybe it was 200.
What's the, apologize, I can't find it here. What's the current rate on the Coon jail?
Let me look here.
We just raised that.
Yeah, be the prior one if you have it, sorry. So our rate is bringing in about 130,000 a year.
Right, I just saw the budget order for that. Right.
That's all.
What did you think it was? The new rate was 0.0153. So that was. Jail was 0.0094, and that was bringing in $128,000 a year. That is off of the 2022 budget order.
It was like, it used to be around 0.012, or sorry, 0.013 to hit that 200,000 mark.
0.013. Okay. I will start the advertising process with that.
Thank you.
I can't do it on my email. It's like searching.
We're ready for transfer requests.
Already did that?
We already did that.
We're
We're ahead of
taking
you.
public comments at this point. None. I would take and entertain a motion for adjournment.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
I need a second.
I'll second.
All right. All those in favor, get up and leave.